Today I'm showing you 6 unique knives that you shouldn't hand to average people. Some of these knives might be illegal in your region, so just be careful while you're researching these things, and just wait until you see the very last one, because this one has a little trick up its sleeve and might be one of the most dangerous knives ever made. Now this video is brought to you by House of Blades, more on that later, and if you're interested in seeing more cool knife content, then hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon now. Alright, let's get right into it, starting off with the Ria Exo Karambit Gravity Knife. Now this is a super interesting knife just because of its overall locking mechanism. It basically turns into this crazy scorpion knife. If you look at the closing mechanism, look at how crazy it is. You can easily slice open your finger or the palm of your hand by closing it. And that's the reason why I would never hand this to an average person. Yes, it's a really cool knife, but you gotta know what you're doing. Luckily, if you decide that you want to grab one of these, Ria actually sends a trainer variant, so that way you don't actually cut yourself on a dull edge. The XOK is considered a gravity knife, so be really careful if you are planning on purchasing one of these, just because it can be illegal pretty much anywhere in the world. Next up, we have knife number 2, and this is the Protect Godson Custom OTS, or Out the Side Auto. Now this is a custom variant of one of their production knives, and only comes with aluminum scales and then like a 154 cm blade. However, this one has herringbone Damascus, carbon fiber covers on top of bronze aluminum scales. But the reason why I wouldn't hand this to an average person is due to the fact that it's an out the side auto. So when you go to engage that button, this thing has a lot of force behind it. And if you hand this bad boy to a buddy, they can easily drop this knife and there goes your $1,000 knife on the ground with a bunch of scratches. Now, I might make it look easy to open and deploy, but it honestly packs a punch. I've handled thousands of knives at this point, so an OTS side auto isn't going to really affect me personally. However, with an average person, if they're not expecting it, this thing is extremely easy to drop. Let's move on to the third one, which is this guy, the Benchmade Necron99 Butterfly or Balisong knife. This style of knife is one of the most recognizable out there. You guys have probably seen them in a bunch of different movies.
You and me have a little talk, friend.
But what makes this so dangerous is not only does it have a live blade that's extremely sharp, but it's working on a dual pivot system. So essentially, if you're opening it up on the wrong side, so if you're using one hand and you're opening it up on the bite side, you can literally just slice your hand by it falling onto your hands or knuckles. Funny story about the Necron99, I was actually doing a photo shoot with one of my buddies who doesn't have a ton of experience with knives, but I needed a hand model for the day. I basically gave him the knife, told him to be extremely careful with it when opening it, showed him the correct side. He basically thought he knew everything because he's seen them in video games and thought, oh yeah, that's no big deal. But he grabbed the bite side handle, went to open it up, and that opened up just fine. He didn't cut himself. But when he went to close it, he literally sliced his fingers, 3 of his fingers across, because he was holding the bite side handle. Balisong knives are not for the faint of heart, and I would not suggest handing this to a normal person that doesn't know what they're doing. Trust me, that's firsthand experience. Yeah, that's a kind of a sketchy knife. Now, before I show you the next 3 knives, let's give a quick word for today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by House of Blades, a close channel partner of Everyday Minimalist. They're a dealer located in Fort Worth, Texas, and have one of the coolest shops that I've ever had the privilege to visit. But let me tell you why you should get your next knife or any EDC item at House of Blades. First off, they stock some of the most popular brands that you may have heard of, like Benchmade, Spyderco, ZT, Kershaw, Wee Knives, Chris Reeve Knives, and Koenig, and a bunch of others. The second thing is they're actually hooking us all up with a really cool discount. So if you use code EDM on checkout, that will get you 10% off your entire order. I'll leave an affiliate link in the description below. That doesn't cost you anything extra. Just click on that link and then just go browse. The third thing is, if you want to really personalize whatever products you get from House of Blades, you can. Just shoot them an email or give them a call and send over your files to them, and they can actually laser engrave whatever you want onto pretty much any product that they offer. Trust me, I've been to that laser engraving room, and those lasers are absolutely insane. I absolutely love and trust House of Blades, and without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do here on YouTube, so thank you for that. And of course, thank you to all of you guys watching this ad, but let's get back to the video. Alright, so the 4th knife on the list is probably the most famous knife of all time. I've posted several short form videos on this particular knife, and it's gone extremely viral, accumulating probably over 50 to 60 million views. That's going to be none other than the Ria Exo, and this is an absolutely insane knife. It is 100% a gravity knife, but I guess you can consider it an out the front knife knife just because that blade deploys out the front. Now, how this knife works is it basically has a pivot here on the bottom that allows you to open up this handle that has this micarta inlay. From that point, the blade will slide on a track using gravity and then completely deploy out the front, and then you can just engage that handle and pretty much lock in that blade. I definitely don't want to hand this to a person that doesn't know what they're doing because they can easily just lodge the entire blade in an uncontrolled fashion, and this thing is going to stab someone else in the room or something else in the room. No, it's kind of funny to think that this knife is banned across the world and a fixed blade isn't in some places. And the thing is, a kitchen knife is actually going to be a little bit more effective than this gravity knife. The reason being is because this has a bunch of mechanical parts, so there's a lot more points of failure, where a kitchen knife literally is just one single piece with maybe a handle. Moving on to knife number 5, and this is one of the most interesting knives out there because there's nothing like it. This knife was actually extremely popular when I first started the YouTube channel back in 2020. This is also considered a gravity knife, but it has a clamshell opening mechanism, so basically it opens up like this. And in order to use it, you basically have to pinch the pivot in order to open up the clamshell, and then the blade just completely falls out. What makes this one super sketchy is it does have a double-edged blade. And the thing is, if you hand this to someone that doesn't know what they're doing when they go to close it, again, that blade is just gonna fall onto their hand and slice them open. It's really easy to decipher how to open this thing once you have it figured out, but yeah, I mean, you just put the pocket clip on the backside and boom. This is a sketchy looking knife, and I would not hand this to just anyone. All right, you guys have been waiting for this very last knife, and this one is extremely interesting because not a lot of people know about it. And on top of that, it looks like any other pocket knife. This is the superlative Piranha, and at first glance, like I said, this is a very basic looking knife, but what makes this thing super special is it acts like a butterfly knife. I don't know the official name, I think it's called the maglock locking mechanism, but basically it's using 2 magnets here on the handles in order for it to lock and secure into place. Now this blade has this crazy Persian swedge look to it. It's very thin, it's very stabby, but it's extremely interesting just because of how it opens and closes. It literally is a butterfly knife, but on a single pivot. There's no other knife out there that I know of that's similar to this. Now the reason why I wouldn't hand this to a normal person that doesn't know anything about knives is because of its opening mechanism. Basically, you slide the top scale in order to reveal the blade, and this is where it gets extremely sketchy because then this blade edge is exposed to your fingers. It's just a really weird type of locking mechanism that nobody really knows how to use, but I kept this one for last because it's so special and unique. But there you guys have it, 6 knives that you shouldn't hand to average people. And I want to know, which one of these knives was your most favorite? Which one do you want to add to your collection, and which one is illegal in your country or state? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this type of content, then go ahead, throw me a thumbs up. If you disliked it, throw me a thumbs down, and I promise you I'll do better next time. Aside from that, thank you guys so much for spending your time with me today, and I guess we'll have to catch you on the next one. Peace out.